Welcome to another episode of the NeoLiberal podcast. Question: are bail reform laws causing violent crime to go up or down in America? I'm Renaldo McKenzie, and welcome to another episode of the NeoLiberal podcast and YouTube channel. And today I want to quickly share an upcoming episode that we have discussing this particular issue. Ken Good, a practicing attorney and the board member of the Professional Bondsmen of Texas, will be a guest on the NeoLiberal podcast and YouTube channel next week, Thursday. I will discuss the widely varying reports of the effort of bail reform on violent crimes in America with Mr. Good. Now, some studies from advocates show that such crimes did not increase due to reform efforts, while other studies showed the opposite. Are any of the studies accurate? Mr. Good has worked closely with lawmakers and other individuals on bail matters, and he will offer his perspectives on the impact that criminal justice and bail reform have had on public safety. Now, on the issue of bail reform remains a contentious subject with significant implications for public safety and justice system equity. On the one hand, a study from California's Yolo County District Attorney's Office reports, again, on the one hand, a study from California's Yolo County District Attorney's Office reports alarming reoffense rates among defenders or defendants released on zero bail, suggesting a direct link between bail reform and increased crime. Now, according to this study, 70% of defendants released without bail reoffended, with a significant proportion committing violent crimes. And of course, you can find that report. I referenced this particular article from Zero Bail Case Study. Zero Bail Policies Increased Crime in Every Category. Available at https. Available at yolada.org/zero-bail-case-study. But go to the NeoLiberal.com, or sorry, go to RenaldoCMcKenzie.com, and if you go, it's the post that my latest posting in the NeoLiberal post at RenaldoCMcKenzie.com. I actually shared this particular reading. I've shared this particular article, and I've referenced it, so you can go to the article in the NeoLiberal post, and you'll find the actual reference to the data that we're talking about here, as it relates to bail reform remaining a contentious subject with significant implications for public safety and justice system equity. And of course, we're talking about, on the one hand, a study from California's Yolo County District Attorney's Office reports alarming reoffense rates among defendants released on zero bail, of course, suggesting a direct link between bail reform and increased crime. And of course, again, according to this study, 70% of defendants released without bail reoffended, with a significant proportion committing violent crimes. Of course, one of the questions I want to ask: how can we truly trust the data? Who are the people behind the data? Because sometimes data serve a particular ideology, a political shift. Because so now that but this, nevertheless, I would want to know more about this study and the research, because this is quite interesting. But by the way, conversely, there is a study published in May 2024 by researchers at Drexel University here in Philadelphia, focusing on New Jersey's bail reform. And they find no evidence that eliminating cash bail increases violence. No evidence that eliminating cash bail increases violence. New Jersey, one of the first states to significantly reform its bail system, has seen a reduction in pretrial detention, without a corresponding rise in gun violence on other crimes. And of course, there is a data that we have for you. You can go to the NeoLiberal post, and I reference this particular article, and you can follow the link. But as bail reform continues to gain traction nationwide, understanding its true impact is crucial for policymakers, law enforcement, and the public. Misconceptions about bail reform could lead to misguided policies that either compromise public safety or perpetuate unnecessary incarceration. Now, so of course, so this is quite interesting. These are some of the questions I would want to ask Mr. Good as it relates to these two studies. And of course, he's a practicing attorney, and I would want to find out um, um, how representative um, is the data. Who are the persons behind these studies? How can we trust the studies? Is it true to form? And in his own work, and what's going on in Texas, because the study at Drexel University focuses on New Jersey bail reform. So it's not looking at the federal, not looking at the U.S. And what goes on in New Jersey might not pertain in Texas and other parts of the country. So he might be able to shed some light on what's going on across the board in the U.S. and what's going on in Texas as well. And of course, and please remember that we're talking about there is another reform that there's one particular study that suggests that bail reform, that's in California. The study in California reports alarming reoffense rates among defendants released on zero bail. Okay, suggesting a direct link between bail reform and increased crime. 70% of defendants released without bail reoffended, with a significant proportion committing violent crimes. 70% of persons released without bail. While that's in California, but of course in New Jersey, Drexel University study is suggesting something else. Now, these two studies are not clashing. There is no contradiction. There is no conflict. The study in New Jersey does not dispute or refute the study or the findings in California, because these are two different states. Okay? And of course, the bail reform that Drexel University focused on in New Jersey, they were looking at eliminating cash bail. Eliminating cash bail does not increase violence. So they're saying that they find the opposite. In New Jersey, eliminating cash bail or zero bail does the opposite. It does not increase, and of course, there's no data. The data is available, but the information that we're getting out of New Jersey is that bail reform does not increase violence, while the people in California are saying that bail reform, zero bail reform, does affect crime and violence. So this is quite interesting. So I would like to, I would want to find out what's going on. What is the picture across the board? Okay, what is the data across the board on the national picture in the U.S.? Okay, we know what happens in New York, in New Jersey. We know what happens in California, but California and New Jersey are two different states. California and New Jersey are two different states, and not only that, the racial makeup, the ethnicity, the socioeconomic context of Jersey as against California, they are completely different. Okay, what happens in the East Coast does not necessarily pertain on the West. So the study has to so therefore what you need is a national study that caters to these differences. If you're going to do a look at it from a macroscopic picture, or from a general picture, from a national picture, look at it from nationally what happened in the U.S. So I understand. So the report I'm reading, there are those who are saying that conversely, as if the New Jersey data refutes and is rejecting. No, it does not. Jersey is not California. So if that's what the New Jerseyans are saying, therefore, you cannot develop policies across the board. When you do data and do research from state to state, the findings differ sometimes from when you do it as nationally. So that is why it is important to have national policy and also a state policy. And where state trumps the federal policy, then we must take into consideration the context, okay, and what pertains in New Jersey. And there are some situations where you don't need a national policy. You don't need a national bail policy in the U.S. because of what pertains in each state, okay? Because what if anything, the fact that each of these studies done in different states are providing different results, it means then that as policymakers, we have to be more mindful about the policies in each state. The policy in New Jersey cannot fit the policy in Texas. And when political candidates are running, they have to also acknowledge that there are some decisions that will require the state to make the final decision, and where the federal should not get involved. But I would love to talk to Ken Good about this, looking at the facts, what is going on in Texas with and across across the country. What's going in terms of bail reform all over the country, Connecticut, Chicago, and so on and so forth. What's going on there in Colorado? What's going in Detroit, so on and so forth, in Texas, and what does it tell us? This is quite interesting. This is the NeoLiberal podcast. Please subscribe to the show so that you and please click to be notified so that when the show is released, you can be notified. Thank you for watching. Continue to support us as we continue to make popular what was the monopoly. And because we're all about serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges. Visit us at NeoLiberal.com and RenaldoCMcKenzie.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@Renaldo McKenzie, or to any of our podcasts. You can find your podcast by going to anchor.fm/theneoliberal/support. And now we are nearing 9,000 subscribers. We want to thank you. If you are a subscriber, we want to say thank you. Please support us and donate to us by going to anchor.fm/theneoliberal/support so that we can continue to provide free programming and expand our programming. Thank you so much. You're listening to an amazing music, amazing